Welcome back, aspirants, to chapter 3, the Vedic Age. So, the Vedic Age is a big chapter, so I am making it into two parts. This first part will be the comparison between early Vedic and later Vedic ages. In the next video, I will be specially focusing on the literature of Vedic period because literature of Vedic period is quite important not only in UPSC mains point of view and prelims point of view, but also in art and culture. So you have a specific syllabus for art and culture in Indian history. So you need to read literature in every stage of our history very importantly and keenly. So coming to this part, friends, Vedic age in India, in Indian history, soon after the Indus Valley civilization, there will be a gap which is not well established. We don't know what happened right there, but we have our sources. The biggest sources of Vedic age is our four Vedas. You know the four Vedas: Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda, where Rig Veda is the oldest creation not only in India but entire Indian European literature. This is the oldest text. So origin, the Vedic age is generally referred to Aryans. So Aryan, which literally means the word high birth. Okay. So the reasons behind rapid expansion of the Aryans, there are quite four important reasons. First one is chariots driven by horses. They have invented the chariots which are driven by horses. They have weapons made of good quality bronze. So you know that Indus Valley civilization is called Chalcolithic age. So after Chalcolithic age, Bronze Age comes. So Vedic age is also related to bronze. The use of armor, use of destructive machine called Purcharishnu. Purcharishnu is also called its. So origin of Aryans, there are various theories like Asidas says they are from Saptasindhu region. Bal Gangadhar Tilak says they are from Arctic region. So there are a lot of things. Swami Dayanand Saraswati says they are from Tibet. Lot of such things are there. Even during Hitler, one person called William Jones also said that they are from Europe. So there are a lot of theories about Aryans. Still, the fight goes on. But we are not concerned about where Aryans are from. We are concerned regarding UPSC history syllabus. That is, what are the comparisons between early Vedic and later Vedic age, right? So generally, in history lessons you will be reading completely again on the early Vedic age, and then you will be reading completely on the later Vedic age. But here I want you to in this journey I will make you to compare each parameter of early Vedic age with the later Vedic age, so that you can understand and appreciate what are the differences between these two ages. Friends, again I'm connecting you to Hrithik Roshan's movie uh, Mohenjo-daro. So in the end, they will be showing that the entire Indus Valley civilization is flooded, and Hrithik Roshan will lead all those villagers. I mean to say all the persons who are living in Mohenjo-daro to our Ganga plains. So at the end, they will be showing that he will reach the Ganga river somewhere near Delhi or UP, right? But that is one of the assumptions that Indus Valley civilization has ended by floods and they have come to Ganga plains. But here the reality is many of the persons who lived in the Indian Pakistan border and northwest India, those who belong to Indus Valley civilization, for some reasons we don't know exactly, they came towards the present Ganga plains of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. And the Vedic civilization, the core Vedic age, is centralized around our eastern and west eastern Gangetic plains, particularly in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Right, the later kingdoms, all the Mahajanapada kingdoms, the capitals like Patliputra, Kannauj, all these are also that's why placed in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So now, what early Vedic age? Early Vedic age is between 1500 BC to 1000 BC. Right, it's also called as Bronze Age. The later Vedic age is between 1000 to 600 BC. So now you should also know what happened after later Vedic age. So after later Vedic age, what happened? Instead of villages, so a group of villages joined into a kingdoms and emperors were started, and that's when Mahajanapadas were came. Mahajanapadas started. So the Magadha kingdom, the Emperor Ashoka, we all read about. They are one of the early kingdoms of Indian subcontinent. Okay, so that is the historical context I am giving you. In between the Indus Valley civilization and in between, say, for example, King Ashoka, in between these two periods lies this Vedic ages. So, unlike the urban culture of Indus Valley civilization, the Vedic age is more of a rural culture. Okay, they are related to these fields, so they are related to cows and all. Okay, that is cow is that's why the holy animal for Indian essence. Okay, so now, like I said before, I will compare you like 5 to 6 parameters of early Vedic age and later Vedic age. The difference is the same. Like early Vedic age people are like on the western Gangetic plains, and later Vedic they came to the eastern part of the Gangetic plains, and they have evolved into a better kind of villages. In early Vedic age, people were still like nomads. They were still on moving. Okay, they are taking their cows. They are finding for better places to live in. They are not still stable life. Okay, but in later Vedic, they have started living a stable life. They have their permanent houses kind. They have started growing agriculture, livestock feeding, and all. First, let's compare geography. In early Vedic age, geography, okay, according to Rigveda, Aryans had the knowledge of rivers like Indus River, Saraswati River. Saraswati River was mentioned as Nadi Tarna River, okay, and present it is related to Gaggar Hakra channel, and they also have the knowledge of Samudra, okay, it refers to water and not sea. So Vedic age Samudra is not the oceans, it is the water. They also had the knowledge of Hemavat, that means the snow, right? In early Vedic age, geography was very little. But now you come to later Vedic geography. They had occupied the Gangetic domes completely. In this period, the Aryans moved into the eastern areas. Okay, that is evident from one of the texts called Satapatha Brahmana. Okay, the later Vedas gives three broad divisions of India, that is northern India, central India, and southern India. So, how they were named in Vedas? The northern India was named as Aryavarta, central India was named as Madhya Desha, southern India was named as Dakshinapada. So, the geographical knowledge you should understand in the later Vedic has developed. They have started giving names. That means they had knowledge, and many of them, those people had moved to all parts of India. So that means the later Vedic age people are more matured and more knowledgeable than early Vedic age people, because early Vedic age people are like the nomads, they are still moving. Okay, now coming to political organization. Obviously, you should now understand the political organization of the early Vedic will be very loose because they are scattered people. They have not still formed into a village. They don't have a particular leader and all. So coming to political organization of early Vedas, the Rigvedic polity, who is like what exactly is early Veda, whatever is there in early Vedas, it is mentioned in our Rigvedic texts. Okay, Rigveda, you know, is the oldest text of India. So, whatever we know about early Vedic ages are from the Rigvedic texts only. So, whatever we know about the later Vedic age are from the other three Vedas. Okay, so Rigveda says that the early Vedic age is a tribal polity. Okay, that means they are like tribes, small tribes. Still, the village concept has not established completely. Kula or family was the basis of both social and political organization. So, there is also concept of small villages, Jana, tribe, and Rashtra, country. The tribal chief is called Rajan. He is the creator and center of administrative machinery. The king position was hereditary. Okay, the kings were hereditary. He was the protector of tribe and cattle. See here the word cattle came. So you should understand that cattle is very much important for the existence and sustenance of the early Vedic people, because they were very much depend on cows, because they don't have agriculture, right? Because they don't have agriculture, their property is cattle. That's why in the early Vedas all the wars which were fought are not for land, they were fought for the cattle only. So the king, the main aim of the king is to protect the cattle. Okay, so he's not the ruler of any specific territory, they don't have any jurisdictions. Several tribal assemblies called Vidata, Sabha, Samiti emerged. So these two words are very important, Sabha and Samiti. These are like meetings of the administrators in the villages. They exercised military and religious functions. Women attended them occasionally. Socially, I want to say that the position of woman is more empowered in early Vedas compared to later Vedas. So in later Vedas, because the population has become increased in the village, people wanted to get control over all the people. So the women's position obviously got declined. They could not attend sabhas and samitis in the later Vedic ages, but in early Vedic they could attend. So in early Vedic age, there is a concept called doctrine of divinity. Still, it did not came into existence completely. What is doctrine of divinity? Friends, when you come to later Vedic and other ancient history, when the King Ashoka and other kingdoms appear, this king was treated as a divine king. What do you mean by divine king? He is a godly king. So he is attached to God, so that everybody will start respecting him. Okay, still that divinity did not come in the early Vedic age. Only one king, Purusha Sukta, has been described as Ardha Deva, that is semi-divine in Rig Veda. Okay, so other important officers like Purohita, Senani, Vishapati were also there. So here I told you that battles were fought for cattle, right? So one of the such battle is the Dasarajana War or Battle of Ten Kings. Okay, this battle was fought on the banks of Parushni River. Parushni is the present Ravi River, right? So now let me compare with the political organization of later Vedic period. Here, what happened? King has become more powerful with the formation of bigger kingdoms called Janapadas. So here, for the first time in Indian history, Janapadas concept emerged. What is Janapadas? A small king leading a group of villages. So a group of villages, just like we have Taluka. So you can compare Taluka with Janapada. You can compare the present state with the Rajya. That is Mahajanapadas. Ashoka was an emperor of a Mahajanapada. Okay, Janapadas group is called Mahajanapada. So the king in the later Vedic age has authority over the territorial jurisdiction. Earlier there was no territory. Earlier the king was only for the cattle. So popular assemblies like Sabha Samiti lost power. So earlier it was like more of a democracy. A group of administrators formed meetings like Sabha Samiti. Women were allowed. Decisions were taken together. But now king has become stronger. So all the assemblies have diluted. Rigveda and Atharvaveda refers to the election of Rajan through people's approval. But here the king has the people's approval just like our elections. Okay, Taittiriya Brahmana mentions the theory of divinity of kingship. So one Brahmana called Taittiriya Brahmana, this text tells us that the divinity to the king was attached by this later Vedic age. Now what happened with the economy? Let's go back again to the early Vedic. Rigvedic people were like predominantly pastoral. Cow or gav was the most important animal. It was mentioned 176 times in Rigveda. So cow has been mentioned 176 times, friends. Gomata referred to men prosperous with many cattle. So at that time, in early Vedic ages, who was the richest person? The person with the maximum number of cows is the richest person. So all the wars were fought with that rich person or rich village which has the maximum number of cows because they give us milk. They are the property. Because land was not there, still agriculture was not established. Cattle breeding was the main occupation. Domestication of other animals were also there. Agriculture was a secondary occupation. So this is the analysis. In the early Vedic age, cattle rearing was the primary occupation. Agriculture was the secondary occupation. Whereas in later Vedic, agriculture becomes the primary occupation. Right? So taxation system was not developed in early Vedic. Bali was a form of voluntary contribution to the king. Remember this word Bali. So for the first time, Bali comes in the early Vedic, but Bali is a tax which is voluntary. The king could not demand. People offered the some part of their property or some part of their value to the king so that king be able to protect them. Now coming to economic life of the later Vedic, because the people shifted towards Gangetic Valley with the use of iron and fire made the possible of agriculture. So how can you develop agriculture, friends? Before agriculture, whatever will be there is generally trees. So forests are there. So if you want to do agriculture, you have to cut the forests. For that, you need to have iron. So what is the key important difference that made the later Vedic people more matured and more stabilized by doing the agriculture is they had the iron. So early Vedic age, they don't know the knowledge of iron. So because of iron, the later Vedic age became the Iron Age, right? The early Vedic age was called as the Bronze Age because they don't know how to use the iron. Shatapatha Brahmana describes the various stages of agriculture such as plowing, sowing, reaping, threshing. Both Kharif and Rabi crops were grown. So whatever the agriculture knowledge we have, that entire knowledge was there in the later Vedic age people. So our Vedas and Shatapatha Brahmanas tells the same. Increased importance of land triggered development of urban life, new class of ironsmiths, chariot makers, etc. The later Vedic period witnessed the coming up of the Purusha Sukta theory. Trading activities were undertaken and coins were used. So here, because the villages are established, trade has been increased. So the coins came into existence. Till now, it was only about barter system. Now coins, what are the some examples of coins? Satamana, Krishnala, Nishkas. So these are some kind of coins. Remember these words. So now here I told you Purusha Sukta theory has emerged in the later Vedic age. So what is Purusha Sukta theory? This is our Varna system. So the Indian Varna system, which comprises of four important Varnas: Brahmana related to mouth, okay, as per the 10th hymn of 10th mandal of Rigveda. So Brahmana is related to mouth, Kshatriya is related to arms or hands, Vaishya is related to thighs, Shudra is related to feet. This is the Purusha Sukta theory or the Varna system. Okay, so this has emerged in the later Vedic age. So why all this has emerged? Why the woman's position has been declined? Why Purusha Sukta theory has emerged? Because when earlier the king had no territorial jurisdiction, now king has to rule and monitor a big group of villages, so he need to place the rules. So what he did, he tried to create rules so that people will follow them. That will make his administration easy. That's it. That's the origin of the caste system. That's the origin of the inequalities which exist even today, right? So that whatever the rules which were created for the administrative convenience of the king, okay, that later ages became rigid structures, and later they led to discrimination, right? So concept of ashramas, we say ashrama dharmas, like four stages of a human life: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi. All these four stages of life have also begun in the later Vedic ages. Here taxation system has been established quite strongly. Bali has now become a customary contribution. I told you in early Vedic ages, Bali was a voluntary contribution. So Bali was given by the people on their own voluntary thing. But here Bali has become mandatory. King has started demanding Bali. There is another other taxes called Bhaga and Shukla. Now there is this concept of society. How the society differed between the early Vedic and later Vedic. In the early Vedic, tribal society with kingship formed the basis of social structure. So man was identified with his tribe called Jana. So just like now we are identified with our state or with our religion or with our caste, at that time in early Vedic age, man was identified with his tribe. Okay, the tribe was called as Jana. Jana was divided into Vis. Vis is group of villages. Okay. So Vis is headed by Vishapati. Okay. The tribal society was broadly divided into priests, warriors, and the people. So here see, there are no four castes, four varnas. There are only priests, warriors, and the people. So there are normal people. For for protection of the people from other tribes, there are warrior clans and there are priests. So Shudra is first mentioned in the 10th book of Rigveda. The non-Aryans consisted of Dasyus and Dasas. Slavery was rampant. No evidence for child marriage. So this is largely the society. And what about the position of women? Rigvedic society was patriarchal, so the birth of daughters was not desired. But once born, they were treated with kindness. Their education was not neglected. Child marriage was not practiced. Women can choose their husband. That means, yes, Rigvedic age was patriarchal, but once if the girl is born, she was not discriminated. She had all the rights equal to the boys. She can choose her husband. She can get education. She can participate in the democratic debates and administrative meetings of sabhas and samitis. There are also, she is also allowing for widow remarriage. Niyoga it's called. So Niyoga was also practiced. She can also participate in religious ceremonies. So what about the society? Society can be, we can say that it has got declined in its values coming to later Vedas. Society has been divided into four varnas. Okay, slowly Shudras has been started to degrade in their values. Brahmanas emerged as the most powerful class. The upper three varnas were entitled to Upanayana or investiture ceremony with the sacred thread. Okay, the upper three varnas were allowed for the sacred thread, but Shudras were deprived of it, and they were also not allowed to recite the Gayatri mantra. The institution of Gotra was established, and no marriage could take place in the same Gotra. So, what we generally in Hindu marriages, we say the concept of Gotra, it established in the Vedic ages, later Vedic. What happened to position of women? It was degraded. The status of women got declined. However, the right to education was not denied. They can get the education, but however, they were discriminated in other aspects of life. They were deprived of Upanayana religious ceremonies. No more they can attend the sabhas and samitis. So, for example, some of our texts, unfortunately, like Aitreya Brahmana says that daughter is the source of misery, but son is the protector of family. And Maitrayani Samhita says there are three evils: liquor, dice, and women. So don't get emotional with these things. So just like because of the administration, so the patriarchy has shown its stronghold and women's position got declined. And it took India thousands of years to get rid of that women and caste discrimination. So the last part, that is the religion. So how religion differed between later and early Vedic. Let's see. Religion in the early Vedic age, Aryans were nature worshippers, personification of the forces of nature. So all the Vedic religion was about nature worship. So, for example, they worshipped the nature gods like Indra, river gods, okay, fire goddess, and all. So, sacrifice also was the pivot of Vedic religion. Coming to the religion in the later Vedas, rise of Vishnu alongside Rudra, new gods Vishnu, Rudra, Prajapati came into prominence. So, the present important gods, which generally are treated famously like Vishnu, Prajapati, Rudra, or Shiva, they came into existence like in the later Vedas. Early Vedas, it was dominated by gods like Indra, fire goddess, etc. So the priestly class has become more stronger and their prestige has increased in the later Vedic. So, friends, I would like to grab your attention to two types of marriages which are present in the later Vedic age called as, remember these two words, Anuloma and Pratiloma. Anuloma marriage is if the wife is of lower caste and the boy is from the upper caste, it is permitted. However, it is not encouraged. Okay, Anuloma marriage is not encouraged, but it can be permitted. But Pratiloma marriage, see here the word is Prati, that means opposite. Pratiloma marriage is husband is of lower caste, wife is of upper caste, it is not sanctioned. Right? These are the two kinds of marriages mentioned in the Varna system. So that ends the comparison between 5 to 6 important parameters between later and early Vedic ages. Literature is an important concept and you have to study in detail. There is no differences of literature widely between early and later Vedic. We will study them together. So listen to the next video, friends, for literature of Vedic ages. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and share with your other aspirant friends. Thank you.